50 million people died. Not in a war, not in a genocide, not because of a king's decision. They died because of a disease no one understood and no one could stop. In the 14th century, the Black Death did not simply take lives. It tore apart the very fabric of society. Before the plague, the medieval world believed it was stable. Faith ruled daily life, tradition shaped behavior, and social order felt permanent. Cities were crowded, trade routes were active, and people trusted that tomorrow would look like yesterday. That illusion collapsed almost overnight. The Black Death is believed to have begun in Central Asia. It traveled quietly along trade routes, hidden inside ships, caravans, and cargo. By 1347, merchant vessels reached Mediterranean ports, carrying more than silk and spices. They carried death. Sailors arrived weak, feverish, and covered in dark, painful swellings. Many died before leaving their ships. Within days, entire ports were infected. No one understood what was happening. Some believed the disease was a punishment from God. Others blamed poisoned wells, foreign enemies, or astrological events. Doctors relied on ancient theories, believing bad air caused illness. They wore masks filled with herbs and flowers, hoping to filter deadly smells. Treatments like bloodletting and potions only made patients weaker. Nothing worked. The plague spread with terrifying speed. People often died within days, sometimes within hours. Families abandoned each other out of fear. Parents fled from their own children. Friends stopped visiting the sick. Cities fell into silence, broken only by church bells and carts collecting the dead. Fear reshaped human behavior before death did. Trust disappeared. Doors were locked. Windows were sealed. Markets emptied. Streets that once echoed with life became quiet corridors of panic. Any stranger was a threat. Any cough could be a death sentence. Bodies piled up faster than they could be buried. Graveyards overflowed. Mass graves became common. There was no time for funerals, no time for mourning. Survival became the only priority. In many regions, more than half the population vanished. As death spread, society collapsed. Fields went unharvested. Shops closed. Trade networks broke down. Governments lost control as laws became meaningless in the face of mass death. Religion, once a source of comfort, turned into terror. Some turned to extreme repentance. Groups of flagellants marched from town to town, beating themselves in public, believing suffering would bring salvation. Instead, they helped spread the disease further. Morality began to blur. Some people gave in to despair and abandoned responsibility entirely. Others embraced excess, believing there was no future worth preparing for. When survival feels uncertain, civilization reveals how fragile it truly is. Entire villages disappeared from maps. Roads fell into disuse. Wealth changed hands rapidly as families died without heirs. The old feudal order weakened under the weight of loss. Yet from the devastation, unexpected change emerged. With so many dead, labor became scarce. Survivors gained leverage. Workers demanded higher wages. Peasants gained mobility. Long-standing hierarchies began to crack. The plague destroyed millions of lives, but it also accelerated the end of the medieval system and quietly reshaped society. The Black Death did not end because of a cure. It faded slowly. Quarantines reduced spread. Cities isolated themselves. Those who survived developed resistance. Over time, the wave of death passed, leaving behind a scarred and traumatized world. Europe survived, but it was forever changed. Economies shifted. Power structures weakened. New ideas about labor, health, and society began to form. The plague forced humanity to confront its limits. The Black Death killed more than 50 million people. It proved that power, wealth, and belief mean nothing against nature. Control was an illusion. Certainty was fragile. History did not change because of kings or armies, but because of an invisible enemy no one could fight.